how to create a custom GPT model to call your UiPath bots. If this is something that you would like to learn, then this video is for you. Okay, so recently I found out about this cool function that we can use in order to utilize our bots using custom GPT models. The video is about how we can create a custom GPT model and then call our UiPath bots from there. So the idea of this video is that we're going to create an invoice parser GPT model, so custom GPT model. We're going to give him an invoice, and then the bot is going to parse the information from that invoice and write it down in a Google Sheet. So pretty simple, but a really cool implementation that I really wanted to share with you. So the first thing that we need to do is to create custom GPT, but at the beginning, let me show you exactly how this is working, and then I'll show you all the configurations, what I did in order to get to this point. So we're going to give him an invoice, and we're going to tell him to extract the information. So extract the information from the invoice using this, let's say, I'm using it, and send that information to a webhook defined in your action. Okay, so this is our start. We're going to send this information to a custom GPT. Then he's going to extract the information from that invoice and send that information to our automation. At some point, we're going to see the data in here, but in the meanwhile, I'll explain everything and show you how this works. So the GPT now is analyzing the information from an invoice. It is extracting the information based on the data that we have provided, based on the schema that we have provided, and now it is sending the information that to a webhook. We need to confirm this, and once confirmed, the GPT model is going to connect to our bot and it's going to send that information. So if the data was sent with the information that the bot is expecting, the data is going to be written in here. So we're going to wait for that a little bit, and then I'm going to explain how to create this. So in order to recreate this, the first thing that you would need to have is a premium account on a GPT, because we're creating a custom GPT, and I'll show you exactly what I did in order to create it. And we also need to create a webhook. So we need to create a connection inside UiPath integration service that is called HTTP webhook. With this webhook, we're going to get a URL that we can use and build an action in our custom GPT that will ping that information. So first, we will go to integration service. We would go to add connections. We would select the HTTP webhook, and we will create. So once created, you will get something like this. Let me remove this secondary one. So you will get something like this. Once you have something like this, you can go inside UiPath Studio or Studio Web in our case and create a connection that will trigger whenever the information is sent to this webhook. So I'll show you how I created this implementation. And in the meanwhile, we can see that the bot has started. The information was extracted from the invoice correctly, and we can see the information in here. The billing address is a little bit clunky, but I only wanted to show you the functionalities of this. You can go ahead and type in the different details and everything, and you can basically define the schema which you want to use in order to extract this data. So we have this invoice parser webhook, and you can see that this is the URL that you're going to get when you use the connection, and that is the URL that the custom GPT is going to basically ping. And then you can also put the expected JSON payload that is going to be received in order to test the automation. And basically then we only have this one write row activity. We also, in our integration service, we connected our Gmail account. We have our Google Sheet, the invoice parser data. You can see that this is the sheet 1. We have created append at the end activity, and you can see the information that is being extracted. So the information that we are receiving in our automation is this body. So we're transforming that to a JSON object, and then we're selecting the token of invoice number and then invoice date, and like that till the end, to map out the actual data that we want in here. Okay, so the implementation of the bot is like pretty simple, and I want to show you how we implemented the custom GPT model. So let me go to my GPTs, and let me go to the UiPath invoice parser. So these are the information that you would need to provide in order to create something like this. So the description is really simple. The GPT will parse the invoice that are received, and it will send the data to a webhook, through a webhook, to start our automation. And these are the instructions. So maybe this is a little bit important. This is also something that I had help from GPT. So this is basically a system prompt for our custom GPT. So it says, your intelligent assistant designed to extract information from an invoice. For each of the invoice provided, extract the following 5 fields. And then we have the invoice number, the invoice date, the total amount, the billing address, and the due date. We have a little bit of a description. What is each of the information that the bot needs to extract, how to recognize it. So this is basically our taxonomy right here. And of course we have the JSON output that we want our bot to write down. So this is really important, because if we go back in here, you will see, okay, so this is the information that we're providing, this is the information that we are receiving, but this needs to correspond to the schema that we sent out, because that schema is basically what we can use in our UiPath to extract the information. So be really careful about this, because if you go to the in here, and for example, you can see that I made a mistake in here. I should have written it down like this. Invoice number should be a little bit differently, because in here you can see it starts with capital I, it has a space and N, but because we created a schema and our GPT is responding based on that schema, and we're extracting information based on that, we're not having any exceptions. So this is basically our system prompt. And then you need to, we're selecting all of the 3 capabilities, and then we need to create the action. And this is the most important thing. So the action is basically describing our activity. So what is basically going to happen? And we have some like information that we need to define, OpenAI, stuff like that, the caption. And then we're providing the server information. The server information is basically our webhook. So this is our webhook. And then we're providing the path. So in order to get a little bit of a help, I have also asked GPT to create me a schema for this. And you can see the prompt here. So I asked him to build a schema for a GPT action for a post method to call the URL that is in here. And of course, in your case, you're going to post your URL. And I also explained what are the needed parameters, and I gave him the example of how schema should look like. So at the beginning, this should be look like this. Okay, this is the start, and then the path and everything was defined by GPT. So this is basically like let's call it a web service definition. So we have a post method, we have a name of the action, which would be the send webhook data, and we have also information of what needs to be sent out, what is expected, and what is the response. So we have a response for successful operation, and we have a response for bad requests. So if we scroll a little bit down, we can see that the schema is valid, and we can see the name of the action and also the policy that we have attached. So this is how we defined our GPT model. So once you create something like this, okay, I can click update. Once you create something like this, then you can basically put in the information of view GPT. So this is invite only, but I'll delete this afterwards. So this is our custom parser, and let's provide him with another invoice. So I didn't actually check the validity of the data. Maybe I need to correct the prompt, but this is just a showcase of what are the capabilities that we can utilize, because GPT is really powerful. extract information from provided invoice and send that information to a webhook that was defined in the action. So we're just making our lives a little bit easier with this. And let's compare the data that is in the first invoice. So invoice number is 12345. Let's go in here, 12345, 16th of June 2025. That's fine. The billing information, you can see that, and this is not readable. The GPT did the whole OCR, which is like really amazing, because I know that that can be sometimes a little bit complicated. Oh, you can see that it's searching for different OCRs in order to extract this data, because these invoices, I mean, I wouldn't say that they're complicated to extract, but yeah. Oh, my battery is running low. Great. So yeah, this is basically how we do this. And let me just pause the video. Okay, sorry, my camera, not my camera, my my laptop got without a battery. So we're basically sending the information back. This is the second invoice, and you can see that the information was extracted correctly, but we don't have the due date. So if we take a look at the invoice, we actually don't have a due date. So this is really cool. This is important information. And for me, at least, it would be much easier to explain to the Custom GPT how I want my data, rather than implement it in like some automation. So this is a really cool, use case that I wanted to show you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and if you have any ideas or any issues while implementing something like this, feel free to reach out. Yeah, that's it. So thank you for watching, and talk to you soon.